My goodness, was that a fast defense opening statement? I would say fast and furious. That approach, I mean, the substance she had was very good. The approach was not delicate at all. And jurors could hold that against her client because there was a death that occurred here. Even if her client didn't do it, still, respect toward the victim is something that jurors will consider. Let's bring in our legal analyst guest, see what she thinks. Jessica Mishali is a practicing criminal defense attorney. What'd you think of that?
I don't even know where to start. The state's opening was amazing. It was great. It told the story from beginning to end. And what a sloppy murder. He's talking to people about it before he even does it. The body is found like immediately. If I'm the defense, where I'm going is that he was framed. Right? Because the body is found on his route, his car is seen. It is like too sloppy to even believe somebody would behave like this. And so I'm going to be arguing that those words he said were just because he was nervous and upset, and that somebody else framed him, maybe even his nephew, because that's who he was speaking to. So that would be the person who could most easily frame him. So I'm coming up with the defense in my mind. But in the meantime, the opening of the defense attorney is very, very interesting. She didn't even look the jury in the eye and say he didn't do it. We don't know for sure who did. It's likely one of these people, but my client didn't do it. She didn't even do that. I think it was weak, very weak.
Yeah, it was. I just feel like so insensitive to the victim too, Jessica. You know, and you're very sensitive toward victims. You are. You do criminal defense work, but you do it the right way. You show compassion for victims. And here, I mean, her words were, unfortunately. She started off. First word was unfortunately, because of the profession the victim's in, dancer, escort. She's coming into contact with lots of, I think she said something like unsavory characters or something. I'm paraphrasing along those lines. It was like, oof. Oof. So this is a mom. She died a brutal death, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to go after her for, you know, how she made a living. I felt like there should have been a little bit of softer of an approach taken where she could have said, this is so unfortunate. Like you said, Jessica, my client didn't do this. You know, this is terrible. This woman and her baby lost their lives, but not at the hands of my client. Let me tell you why. And then hit all your points. What do you think? Do you think the jurors are going to see her as, you know, maybe a little insensitive to Tania Wise's death?
She was definitely insensitive, and they're going to attribute that to the defendant. I mean, I'm right away thinking that the defendant asked his lawyers to say these things because in his mind, he's like, oh, she's an escort, she's a hooker, she's a dancer. Let's show the jury how bad she is. You have to be very careful when you show the jury how bad someone is when they've been murdered while they were 8 months pregnant. There are ways to say those things in a compassionate way. And I think that the first thing the defense attorney should have addressed is how awful, terrible, and tragic this situation is, how unacceptable in our society this is. But you also cannot convict a person who did not commit a crime, and she can still advocate for her client. She absolutely should have come out with a more sympathetic and empathetic tone and more of a story for the jury.
You're right, Jessica. You're spot on. I think she could have scored some points with the jury, perhaps even by just acknowledging how tragic it is, expressing sympathy even. She probably could have gotten away with something like that, you know, on behalf of her client, that this is awful, you know, and then you gently say, unfortunately, this woman, you know, was living a life that had her coming into contact with, you gently say it, not just, that was just smack. That was awful.